AI didn't steal your clients. I know that's what you want to hear, and it's because it's a comfortable story. The robots came, the humans saw them as better, faster, cheaper, and so that's just what happened. Except that's not really true, because I've been in this game 11 years now, and I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen good copywriters come and go, I've seen changes in the industry, and honestly, there's guys out there still making a really good living despite everything happening with AI. And the thing is, the reason why a lot of people are struggling, it doesn't really have that much to do with AI. It's got everything to do with these 5 mistakes that you're probably making. In this video, I'm going to run you through those 5, talk to you about why you might be making them even if you think you're not, and give you solutions. So let's get into it. Mistake number 1, you're not working hard enough. Now, that might sound pretty abrupt, and it's certainly maybe a bit weird coming from me, being the lifestyle guy who talks about how you can make an amazing living working 4 or 5 hours a day, how you can work from coffee shops, do this whole thing from anywhere in the world, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not for a minute saying that you need to be working 60 hours a week, doing anything like that. I'm certainly not trying to turn into a pound shop, very British version of Alex Hormozy. But I also think that a lot of copywriters and consultants just need to work harder. There's this weird thing where at the start of your career, your work level will be much, much higher. You'll be having to do things like getting at the laptop for 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe. You have to be working at weekends because maybe you've still got a 9 to 5 or another business, and so that's when the work has to happen. You're probably going to be getting on Zoom calls with clients late at night. You don't want to. It's not a long-term strategy, but it's kind of what you need to do to start out. Over time, that kind of stuff should go down. Your work hours, your work stress, the stuff you compromise on, that should diminish while your freedom and flexibility and ideally your income go up. But it's not always going to be like that. It's not a smooth process. Nothing in business is. And actually, if you're going through a bit of a rough patch, then you might have to embrace some of that newbie mindset again. I'm certainly not immune to going, right, things aren't as good as I would like them to be at the moment. Maybe I lost a client. Maybe I've deliberately slowed down and taken a bit of a break. I kind of did that for a bit last year with some personal circumstances. When I come back to things, I've kind of got to kick it up a gear. Not to the stage where I had to do back in 2015, 2016, but I've kind of have to say to myself, look, there's no real extra strategy here. There's just extra work involved. And I kind of think that the copywriting as a biz op idea has got a lot to answer for here. And I will hold my hand up. As someone who creates courses and coaches and mentors and stuff, I've probably played a bit of a part in that. Admittedly, not as big as a lot of the other guys who are selling it as some get-rich-quick scheme, but copywriting and consulting has sort of been put across like this push-button business. Like you get some prompts, you get some templates, you send a few messages, all of a sudden you've got a 10k a month business. And as we all know, it's not that simple. There is an element of work involved. So if you're not making the money you want to, if you're not signing the clients you want to, first of all, look at it and go, well, am I actually working hard enough? Because honestly, sometimes when you're truthful with yourself, the answer is actually no. You can always do a bit more. The second mistake is not following up. Once more, I will say that I'm guilty of this at times too. Whether it's because I'm naturally introverted, whether it's because I'm a bit shyer, whether it's just the fact I'm British. Yeah, we don't like to be pushy. But there's definitely been times when I've not followed up as much as I should, and it's a really common trait with copywriters. There's a reason why sometimes the brash internet bros who are just a bit douchey, they do pretty well, and it's honestly because they've not got shame, and so they don't mind being rejected. They kind of keep following up with people till they essentially get told to piss off, and most of us don't do that. Part of it will be because there's this weird comfort when you're in the phase that you've not got a definite no from a prospect, where you've still got a lot of hope. And this is a marketing concept I talk about a lot. It's that fear of lost hope. If you've sent one email to someone and either they've not replied or they've said, oh, sounds interesting, maybe later, there's this part of you that thinks, okay, that could be a potential client. And our brains automatically go to thinking, oh, they might want to pay me down the line. They might want to bring me on to work with them. By following up, you're getting a definite answer on that, and that answer might be a no. And a lot of people actually find that quite difficult to take. That's why we often don't follow up. There's also that natural inclination to not want to be a pest, not want to be pushy to people, not want to be that person who someone sees an email from you and thinks, oh God, not that guy again. Again, I get it. It's 100% normal, but you do kind of have to follow up. think about how you buy stuff as well. It's very, very rare that outside of maybe things like toothpaste and toilet roll and, I don't know, ketchup at the supermarket, you probably don't buy things on a first point of contact with someone. Certainly when you're spending more money anyway, when you're buying a product or a service or coaching or mentoring, you will rarely see an ad that's like, oh, this costs £500 or dollars, or get this coaching program that lasts 90 days. You're probably not going to sign up to that because you think, well, I need more touch points. I need to know the person's serious. I need to know I can trust them. I need to know they've got something they can offer me that's different and it's suited for my needs. It's the same when you're prospecting as well. No one's really out there going, oh, I really wish a copywriter or a consultant would email me. That would absolutely make my day. Like, they're not. You're invading their space, and that's totally fine, because if you're good at what you do, you can bring them benefit, and ultimately it works out really well for both of you. But you've got to put yourself in their shoes. If they get one email from you, even if it's a great email, they might not reply. If they say, yeah, I'm interested, maybe later, that's more the fact they don't trust you yet. And so it's kind of your duty to follow up and get that definite answer. You can do this in a way where you're not pushy, you're not a pest, you're not getting annoying. Just be respectful and be professional, because ultimately it takes generally around about 7 to 12 touch points for us to actually buy something, unless we already really know the brand, unless it's cheap, unless it's like we're buying something for a life-saving emergency. Like if you were bleeding out and someone had plasters that would save your life, you're not going to go, oh, I need 7 more touch points. Have you got some case studies, and have you got a guarantee on your product? You'd buy it. But that's not how we buy coaching. It's not how we buy courses. It's not how we buy anything else like that. So follow up. Be really honest with yourself. Are you actually closing all those opportunities? Anyone who's entrepreneurial is really good at opening up opportunities. They're great at starting things. We tend to suck at finishing them. So have a look through your pipeline and go, right, how many people have I got who didn't give me a definite no, who expressed a tiny bit of interest, or maybe didn't even get back to me? Follow up with all of them. If you don't get anything from that and you end up with definite no's from every person, at least you know that and you can move on to the next thing. But having those open loops, for one, it just preoccupies your mind. It gives you more stress than you need, and secondly, it's money waiting on the table. Third is calling yourself a copywriter. This is obviously what we do, or sub-in consultant, sub-in media buyer, sub-in strategist, whatever it is. But calling yourself a copywriter immediately puts you in a box to clients. It's kind of like if I said to you accountant. No one's going to be watching this thinking, oh my god, I'd love an accountant. That'd be the best thing ever. That would absolutely change my life, change my business. Because accountants tend to be functional. I don't know about you, but my accountant is very much, I send him my bank statements, I send him my expenses, he puts everything in his system in his spreadsheet, he gets one of his staff to calculate how much tax I owe, he sends HMRC and me the bill, I pay HMRC, I pay him his thing, we meet once a year, I sign it off. That's about it. He's a really nice guy. If I ask him questions, he's always spot on with his advice. He might occasionally reach out to me and say, oh, did you know we could save some money if you put dividends here? Have you thought about putting a bit extra in your pension because that can lower your tax burden, that kind of thing. But on the whole, he's reactive rather than proactive. And most accountants are like that. We have them because they serve a function and because past a certain point, you kind of need one unless you want to be messing around with your own books all the time. But no one's super excited about hiring an accountant. It's the same with a copywriter. Prospects might think, oh, okay, that's someone who can write words that sell more stuff for me. They might think that, but they're not going to be super excited if that's what you're selling, if you're just selling your job title. This is not me saying you need to suddenly market yourself as like a full stack marketer or whatever else. You know, the phrase creative strategist is just being thrown around recklessly at the moment by, to be honest, people who don't really put together creatives. They're not actually creative themselves, and they don't really have a clue about strategy. They are just copywriters going, oh, this thing seems to be catching on, I'm going to market myself as that. Don't do that. It's disingenuous. You'll get found out. Everyone hates it. That's my piece on that. But you do kind of have to market yourself as more than a copywriter. So have a think. Is there a specific demographic you work with? Is there a specific outcome you provide? You might have a wide range of clients and a wide range of things that you do, but from a marketing perspective, it's much better to be the guy or the girl for a particular thing. Whether that's like the email copywriter for pet business brands already doing mid 6 figures, something like that. It's not the best position in the world, but you get an idea of how that's a bit more specific. Or whether you specialize in helping high ticket coaches convert dead leads in their funnel. You're the person who goes in there, puts in the systems, the structures, the copy, the strategy to get everyone who's ever been on a sales call and said no to sign up to something. That's a cool offer, right? Because you can go to your ideal target market and basically, look, I can do this for you. It's a massive difference between that and saying, hey, I'm a copywriter, would you like to pay me some money? Mistake number 4 is charging for deliverables. And I'm going to kind of break this down into actually 2 subcategories. First of all is charging by the hour. Charging by the hour is a really bad idea. If a client asks me for an hourly rate, I just flat out say no. The reason for that for me is because I work pretty quickly. If I said to a client my hourly rate was £500, they'd be like, that's a lot of money. I can get someone on Fiverr for 10% of that. Why would I want to pay you? What they don't know is that I can churn out a lot of really high quality copy in an hour, certainly relative to other people. And I don't necessarily say that as a flex. There's stuff that, I don't do as well as other people. When it comes to good work at speed, that's kind of my thing. So if I start charging an hourly rate, no one's really going to want to hire me because they're going to think it's expensive. That said, you'll get the top % of the market who are like, oh, he's the most expensive, I should hire him. But most people, they're going to be put off by the price. They'll get what we call sticker shock. The other thing is when you charge by the hour, you put yourself in the same bucket as those people on Upwork, on Fiverr, who typically they're from developing countries. They do good work, but they're not specialists. So when you automatically have an hourly rate, you're classing yourselves in that same bad. Now, I'm guessing that that's not the positioning you want. You want the positioning where you're sought after, where you can command the rates, where you can pick and choose your clients. You're not going to get that with an hourly rate. The other problem with an hourly rate is it doesn't take into account research. Every single project that you do as a copywriter, as a consultant, will involve a certain amount of research. If you already know a business and you already know a niche, it might be a little bit less. So if I was hired by, let's say you've got 2 different companies, and if one of those companies was a fitness coaching company who said to me, Mike, we need a 10 email autoresponder, could you put that together for us? Like, what's your hourly rate? I would know that those emails might take me 6 hours to do, let's say, if there were 10 of them. And the research might be 2 or 3 hours. So I know that total time it's going to be 8 to 9 hours worth of work. If we then go to something like a SaaS company, and it's maybe like a SaaS company that has, I don't know, some sort of tech product, let's say, I really don't know much about that. So in order to write those same 10 emails, I'm probably going to have to speak to the founder. I might have to listen to some sales calls. I might have to sit in on some trainings. I might have to interview some staff. I'm going to have to look at competitors. There's a good, probably 12 to 20 hours of research that goes into that. And then I've got to write the emails. So all of a sudden, my hourly rate, if I'm charging by the emails I'm doing, the hourly rate is a lot lower. Or if I go to them and say, well, yeah, my hourly rate is, is that £500, and because it's going to take me 24 hours of working time, not just a day, 24 hours of working time, they're going to think that's stupidly expensive. As I said before, a tiny portion of the market will be like, cool, that guy obviously charges a lot, he clearly knows his stuff, we'll hire him. Most people won't. So charging by the hour is just not the thing to do. Charging by deliverables isn't quite so bad, but it's still not what I would recommend. And that's kind of for the reason I just said, because even with deliverables, you're not charging for the research, you're not charging for your expertise. And yes, you can bake that into your fees slightly, but there's still a bit of a cutoff for it. So what I do is look to charge for more of a package. Think about how the highest paid copywriters work. They would put together a promo, and that would be things like the sales letter, it'd be email lists, it'd be a landing page, it'd be different headlines to test, different calls to action to test. What someone is getting is really like a full service offer in a box. And automatically that's much more valuable to them. You can also think about charging for an outcome, charging for a result. Even a monthly fee is better because it shows that you're actually more invested in the brand. So I'm not totally against charging by deliverables. I still have a rate card because some people will say, oh, love to know how much you charge. Do you have a rate card? And I'll send it over and I'll say, yes, but it's only a guide. So because you're in the so-and-so industry, that would require more research for me. There's more background that I need to do. So please bear in mind that the fees are probably going to be higher than on that rate card. I don't love doing that, but at the same time, if you do everything else that I'm sharing in this video, you're in a position where you can do it, because if you lose the business, it doesn't really matter. But just don't get into the trap of charging for your deliverables, and definitely don't get into the trap of charging by the hour. Mistake number 5 is not having a personal brand. Now, I've spoken about this quite a bit before, and if I can find the video, I'll put a link somewhere here or here. I don't know how YouTube works. You'll be able to find it somewhere. But this was something that I didn't used to think mattered. I was very much in the camp jump off, well, if you're a copywriter and you do good work, you're probably going to be okay. Your clients will know you, you'll build a good warm network, all that kind of stuff. I really don't believe that anymore. What you have to think about is, again, how people buy. When we're talking about marketplace sophistication, we go out through various levels. I won't run you through everything here, but essentially a low level of sophistication, a market will buy a product based on the fact it's just the product. They want the thing, they want the deliverable. As the market gets more sophisticated, so the longer a market has been around, the more they look for different things. So then they look for something that provides an outcome. Then they look for something that solves a problem. Then they look for something that's got a bit of a unique mechanism around it. And finally, they look more to the brand. They look more to like the values and the ethos of who they're buying from. If we talk about commodities, if we talk about, I don't know, water bottles, for example, not that many people are going to look to the brand for values. They're certainly not going to look to the founder behind the company. That said, there are some e-commerce brands and product brands that do that, and I think that's a good idea, but it's not essential. With what we're doing though, when we're charging for services, we're charging for coaching, when we're working closely with someone, even if it's online, even if it's via Zoom, those people really want to know about the person behind the work. So yeah, they want to know that you're competent, they want to know that you can solve their problem, they want to know that you provide an outcome, that you're good at what you do, but there's a lot of people who fit that criteria. So the next stage is to show who you are as a person, and that really means coming clear on your values. So you'll notice that I've been getting more into YouTube recently, and there's a reason for that. It's because I feel like on social media with written posts, yeah, we can do branding really well, but actually video is kind of a next level. It gives you a chance to see a bit more of the person behind the brand. And again, even just from this video, you can see certain bits about me. There's a bass there that I play really, really badly, but you know I'm into music. You can kind of get an idea of probably what kind of music I'm into for the fact I've got a bass. You can also see running medals up there. So you're probably going to know that even if you don't see their running medals, you'll probably know that I'm into sport and athleticism. Those are a couple of my values. I also regularly talk about music. I talk about travel. You can see the type of clothes I wear. I'm not the kind of consultant who turns up in a suit all the time. I'm pretty chilled and laid back. You know, I've got a crazy mural on the wall. So you know that, I don't know what you know about that. You might think I've got awful home interior taste, but you will make an impression in your head. And that's what all this is about. People are going to have an impression of you, whether you put it out there or not. I would much rather be in control of that. And I'm okay with people not liking that as well. You want a client who you get along with. So if you're super progressive, you probably don't want super conservative clients. If you're super conservative, you probably don't want the type of clients who the first question on their form when you join their company or when you work for them as a freelancer is, what pronouns do you go by? Some people would love that gig, some people would hate it. What I'm saying is that when you put a personal brand out there, not only is it stronger positioning, but actually it makes for a more fun, more easy business because you know who you're going to be working with. It's the kind of person, the kind of people who, even if you don't agree on everything, you gel on a lot more stuff. So I don't care what comes into your personal brand. It can be about movies that you love. It can be about the music you listen to. Talk about where you go. Talk about your family. Talk about your pet. But make it interesting. Make it unique. People often joke about these LinkedIn posts that are like, oh, 7 lessons I learned from my kids spilling jam on the floor this morning. And yeah, a lot of them are really, really shit. But at the same time, they kind of do personal branding. So if you can do that in a less wanky way, it's honestly one of the best ways to get clients. And not only that, but get clients who are actually fun to work with and who aren't going to be shit when they, you know, when you happen to do something wrong because they like you as a person. So there you have it. I'm not going to be doom and gloom and say AI is taking all the copywriting jobs, because it just isn't. Yes, AI has been an industry disruptor. For some people, it's been shit. Honestly, I think that actually the way things are going, AI is going to be a benefit for most copywriters because it's doing a couple of things. One, it's getting rid of all those biz-op people because the easy gigs are going. And secondly, people are actually finding out how crap AI copy is and they're going back to hiring copywriters. But even if we said that wasn't happening, and even if we said there was this slow kind of AI coming in and taking all the copywriting jobs and only a small percentage of people are going to be left, if you follow what's in this video, you will still stand out, you'll still get clients, you'll be able to position yourself as an expert. So if that's something you like the sound of, as always, just let me know in the comments, give me a question, always happy to answer them. I'll also put a link for my action-based psychology course down there. That helps a lot with how you position yourself, how you do your branding, also giving you different skill sets so you stand out. Now, it's not for everyone. You might not have the cash to spare for a course, you might be doing other courses, you might just not be interested, but take a look, you might get some ideas from there. Either way, hope you've enjoyed the video. I will catch you in the next one.